All right, that'll be fun to edit.
Just want to take it from the top or what?
No, I was just gonna pick it up at the story at least.
Okay, cool.
So, hey, I'm back. Yeah, Hoser, you missed it. Just like everything was still going up top, but my monitor screen was just like, "There's a problem with your computer." The Windows 10 and 11 blue screen, where it shows you like a QR code and everything. All right, so, yeah, getting back talking about Decipher. Yes, so company that was big in like the late 90s early 2000s but now had gone away and has resurfaced via Cryptozoic Entertainment. uh, Cryptozoic and Decipher have inked an agreement that will relaunch the How to Host a Murder party game series after more or less disappearing from the game's industry scene circa the late aughts. Decipher Inc. seems to have resurfaced in an attempt to relaunch their once popular How to Host a Murder game series by licensing the time honored brand to Cryptozoic. The How to Host a Murder was first published in 1985 and had a run of new releases published all the way through 2003. In this game, players took on the roles of suspects after a murder had occurred. They would then roleplay out a light, humorous scenario using a host guide, player manuals, a sheet of secret clues, guest invitations, name tags, diagrams, and more. This is so wild because like this would be the perfect timing to bring something like this back because those types of games are doing really well.
Yes.
And it's kind of crazy that we had this back in like the 80s.
Right?
It's like I want to see. I'm kind of curious what it was like.
I'm thinking it's Clue the RPG.
Probably, but like a party game-ish version of it, where it's not strict. There's probably no dice or whatever.
Dude, it's an actual like murder party.
Yeah. So the first wave of episodes available via the reboot for this game will be The Waters Down Affair, Class of 54, The Chicago Caper, and Saturday Night Cleaver. The relaunch is set to occur later in 2025. So yeah, that'll be really interesting. Uh, Especially, it'd be curious to see how many people actually remember the brand Decipher.
Mhm.
I just remember it because I when I was in high school or no, late middle school, I was big into the Young Jedi game when it came out.
Oh,
That was their attempt to try and get people into the Star Wars card game because like Pokemon's a thing. We should have a young Star Wars game. And I played it like many other CCGs back in that day. Like I don't remember we were talking about like the some of the other ones before I got cut off, but the Lord of the Rings one, I don't know if it was Decipher, but they had print and play decks. So like you could go on their website and download the starter decks and then like print them out and play. Like it's kind of crazy like the stuff that like people are doing today and it's I just when I think back I'm like, "Oh yeah, they were doing it then too."
there's nothing new on TV.
Yeah. All right. Moving on for my computer crashes again. Methinks there's going to be splatter stories like these for coming up. So, retailers step in to help Dutch publisher Splatter over U.S. distributor GTS cancels large order over tariff uncertainty. So, there's plenty of ways I could go with this, and I'm not gonna get too political, but I'm just gonna say if you think that you're if you're the kind of person, I doubt it based on the kinds of people that probably listen to this, but if you're the kind of person that's like keep politics out of my gaming, I got another bite or I got another thing coming for you.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna complain a lot about. I'm currently actively being screwed by tariffs, actually.
Oh, I can
So yeah,
imagine.
no, it is a direct A to B uh election to I'm losing thousands of dollars out of my own pocket, like uh train ride for me.
Yeah. Like
So it's great. It's wonderful.
food chain magnet publisher Splatter Spleen Says U.S. distribution major GTS has canceled a large order. They don't specify what, but quote, large order for its game Indonesia at short notice, citing uncertainty over further changes to import tariffs in the country. So, looks like game or tariffs are getting put on stuff from China by 10% at the start of February, and November threatened Chinese goods with an 80% tariffs in addition to a blanket 20% on all imports to the U.S. So, Splatter, a small Dutch publisher, said on February 17th that almost all the U.S. retailers who offered pre-orders for the third edition of Indonesia were being supplied through GTS, meaning that U.S. customers expecting the game would now not be receiving their copy. So, like almost all of their, pretty much their entire U.S. orders were canceled for the game. So,
Jesus.
a string of U.S. and Canadian retailers have since been in touch attempting to help by securing direct orders, while other distributors and publishers have also made contact, but it's still just like pretty bad. You know, I mean, that's like just imagine like I mean, okay, so I mean, we've got a publisher here. Like, how many thousand copies did you just bring in for Aegis?
Too many. Yeah, so I have a whole shipping container coming over, so it's like quite a few thousand copies. Probably not as many copies as some of these larger publishers do. So large publishers do, minimum runs of like 10, 20,000 depending on what they're doing. But like I have a more than I've ever handled before.
Right.
And the printing bill is big, and 20% of big is a lot.
Yeah.
I'm very good at math, but yeah, it is a lot. And but yeah, with the larger orders, it really the worst is that the worst games that are hit by this are the ones where people have pre-ordered, people have paid for the stuff already, and the game hasn't shipped from China yet.
Right.
And that's exactly where my game is. So I didn't have a chance to preemptively charge or preemptively apologize for tariffs because my game just finished printing. And I already collected shipping money.
Right.
Like, because I had all the numbers sorted out, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, plus or minus some freight fluctuations, whatever. And then little Donnie Trumpy has to be like, what if $5,000? What if $10,000?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, and I'm just like, okay, what do I do aside from die? I guess. But I mean, it could be worse. I could be the Indonesia guys,
Yeah.
where now they just have tons of angry customers who aren't getting their stuff at all. All the Aegis people are getting their stuff. I'm just going to be sad.
Yeah.
I might have to ask them for more shipping money, which is cringe, and I want to avoid doing that at all costs because no one likes that. I'm going to have to deal with angry people being like, I don't want to pay an extra $5 2 years later. But it's also not something I really want to do. Like I put out numbers there and I put out a promise, and and the game's like taken a while to finish, and I want to ship it for what I originally promised, but it's a very annoying, precarious situation. But yeah, other larger companies certainly have it worse than I do if they're with like these much larger print runs that are like, they have all these retailer orders locked in. We have a couple of retailers. We don't have hundreds or thousands of retailers like these distros do. But yeah, it sucks.
And there's also there's a great article it got floated around a lot. I think it was on Board Game Wire, the same place I got this article. But Robert, I want to say Geisinger, who's the president of Arcane Wonders, put out an article talking about how like game prices are about to go through the roof because of this. Like, board profit margin, or what a publisher makes on a board game is very small amounts, and when you're adding on extra fees that are eating away with that, now you're going to start seeing 10-20% increases across the board on games. Because guess what, pretty much like almost every game except Magic the Gathering is made in China.
Yeah, and there's still plenty of stuff that Wizards makes that is made in China.
Yeah.
So, rip. But yeah, no, it's like, especially the games that'll be hit the hardest by this are going to be like, the big games, the 40, the 50, the 40, 50, 60, 90, 100, $200 games.
Right.
Because like a 10% tariff on those on manufacturing is very significant. Your $20 party games, that's like an extra like couple cents on their production cost. But the bigger games they're going to get more. They started expensive and they're going to get more expensive. I don't know what Awaken Realms is going to charge for that stupid fancy version of Agricola they're doing, but if it was like $400 before, it's going to be like $500 now.
And there's actually another article I saw. Cobalt Press put one out last week that was talking about the dangers of uh, things happening to the United States Postal Service and media mail, talking about how if that goes away, you may see like, oh, if you want to buy this RPG book, guess what? It's going to be $20 to ship it to you in the continental U.S.
Yep. Yeah, no, these are the things where, you wake up and you check your phone as a publisher and you just see something like all mail from China has stopped. And you just like, what do you do? What do you say? And then 24 hours later, it goes away. And then when you wake up the next day and you're like, the postmaster general has resigned and the president is going to fire the whole postal board and incorporate it into this other thing. And you're like, what is going on? What is going on? Next year, shipping something could cost literally twice as much. Like, we don't know. Like, it's the degree of chaos and uncertainty it is crushing. And I've kind of just been getting through it by I just throw my hands up. Well, if I die, I die, I guess. But
Yeah.
these companies that have overhead and employees they need to take care of and lots of financial obligations that aren't just like some indie guy and his little army of contractors. Yeah, no, this is bad. This is bad. A bunch of companies went under during COVID because of the freight spike, among other things. And this might kill a couple of companies too if like the worst stuff happens, like shipping just doubling on everything, freight shipping doubling, tariffs doubling, and like when your domestic mail gets completely screwed, what do you do? It's making things very rough. To really not just board games, but anything, like any object, like the kind of there's so much e-commerce based around just shipping objects around the country that it's very silly. It's very frustrating.
I can imagine. So, if you want to try and do something, harass your congressman, your congressperson. Their mailbox. I found there was a site I found where it will even auto generate the message for you if you just kind of like tell it. It's like, what state do you live? Like, it was all via like text chain, uh you can use WhatsApp or like Facebook Messenger, but it'll be like, what state do you live in? Oh, these are your Congress people. What do you want to say to them? And then like you send it like, okay, what's your name and email address? And then it just like, boop, this is what we're sending to them. Done.
It's true, and especially if you live in like one of like the 20 swing districts who matter.
Yeah.
Please start harassing your Congress people. I think I technically live in one of them, but we're like not so far a swing district that I like our luckily my representative does the correct and says the correct things. But yeah, no, there's some that's all you can do. Just make
Yeah.
phone calls and send emails, go to your town hall meetings, convince them and scare them into thinking they're going to be unemployed so they vote different. But it's all pretty screwed.
So sorry for bringing the episode down. I promise with the rest of it we will make up for it, but sometimes reality
Yeah,
hurts.
sorry.
So, moving on. It might be hard for this new RPG service to tabletop its competitors. So D&D's Unreal-powered Sigil virtual tabletop is now open for adventuring. It's free to try or less than $5 to run games for your friends. Because, we needed another virtual tabletop.
I'm installing it right now.
Why? Just to goof around with it?
Yes.
D&D's highly anticipated tabletop Sigil, which I feel like that's a terrible name. Because, it doesn't... if you just heard Sigil, it doesn't connect me to D&D at all.
It honestly didn't.
Honestly,
what it connected me to at this exact moment was Destiny, because that's an in-game currency. At the moment.
I was honestly, you could just have it be called D&D Beyond, and just link the website in, just have it be a part of the website. But
right.
Went live on Thursday, according to Sigil's the City of Doors. I mean, that makes sense, but unless you're the person that knows that, if you're just if you're you've only been playing D&D for like a year or two, you're not gonna know that.
No, you're not gonna have. I mean, it honestly, when back in the 90s, when like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 first came out,
yeah,
I was playing those games. I'm like, all right, these are cool. It wasn't until I started playing with you and everybody else that like, oh, Baldur's Gate's actually a city.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought it was just the name of the game for some reason.
So it's powered by Unreal Engine 5. The fully software install is ready. A fully three-dimensional system includes integrations with character sheets created in D&D Beyond, a tool for building and customizing miniatures, animated spell effects, and more. You can join multiplayer games for free, but running a game will require a master tier subscription, which is currently listed at $4.58 per month. This isn't a beta, but it's a full release of the tool set. It feels very capable, but don't expect an experience like Baldur's Gate 3. It's more of a recreation of the tabletop experience with static miniatures, terrain, and buildings, albeit augmented with some very powerful bells and whistles. So, and the biggest feature being that it integrates with D&D Beyond. But I don't know. I feel like this is too little, too late. Because, Philip, you remember there was that Foundry one that we checked out where they had their the custom adventure setup. That was it was like playing a computer RPG, but you could do it through that was really cool. And I don't expect the Sigil to be like that without spending a ton of effort. It's not going to have, unless people make modules that you could then load into Sigil, but they haven't really mentioned how that is yet.
Right. Where's that page?
Oh, they also offer another virtual tabletop called simply Maps.
Yep. I saw that. I was like, hey, at least this one has a title. That one's just like a function.
Yeah. Just guys, you're really not trying here. Also, why do you need a second not just this one thing. We got to have a second thing too, and this one's even cooler.
Well, I think Maps is more just that, just a map.
Yeah, probably.
With markers.
But it's you again, Roll20 even integrate you can buy official D&D adventures on some of these other places. They already have deals with these things. If you're going to do this, you should have done it from the beginning. You don't jump into it after. You know what this is like? This is like when Apple Maps first came out. And everybody's like, you had something good with Google. You were already partnered with Google Maps. Now you just gave us a worse version of this.
Such a worse version. Oh my God.
And I'm sure nowadays it's probably okay, but I don't trust Hasbro to keep this thing running long enough for it to be good.
That is a correct worry.
They're going to be like, oh, no one's using this? Kill.
So I'm reading through that. One of the master tier subscriber expanded experience options is unpainted minis.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
In
Having
our
a 2D less
completely
intensive version.
3D generated world.
Okay, for having
It
for
could
having a
work.
2D less intensive version is good for tablets. That makes sense.
Who said that? Who's
Uh,
out here making sense?
in the chat,
Oh, in the chat, someone's making sense. Oh,
yeah,
okay, all right.
Michael in the chat. Yeah, I don't. I mean, there's a lot. Like, I don't play enough. I don't really play a lot of games online. But like, even now, they've got like you've got the Discord integration with Roll20. Like, so nice. Like, I haven't used it, but just the features that they advertise, at least. Like, oh, I could see using that. Michael says, "Hi, Breeze."
Hello, guest. I mean, who was that, Michael? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know you.
All right. Speaking of D&D, don't try and win in parliamentary procedure with the beholder. The eyes always have it. I need everybody to behold, literally, this. Wizards of the Coast and WizKids reveal Dungeons and Dragons Mr. Potato Head crossover miniature.
I gotta have it.
I'm like impressed
Is that
and
what they're
very
doing?
creeped out. Like at the same time. Like I want it, but also it kind of scares me and I feel like it's going to give me nightmares.
This is great.
Also, Chad, this Breeze guy sure sits really still.
Yeah, I'm frozen. This
Yep,
is what I look
totally.
like all the time anyway.
Wizards of the Coast and WizKids revealed D&D Icons of the Realms Potato Head Beholder boxed miniature, which made its debut at Gamma Expo 2025. This is potentially the crossover miniature that D&D fans didn't know they wanted until it was possible. It's a mash. So this is a
Oh.
miniature. It's not even going to be like a full-size one. It's a mashup miniature made by WizKids that combines the charm of the Hasbro toy IP with the infamous creature from D&D. The miniature is 3 inches tall and comes with 8 interchangeable eye stalks. Oh, that's super cool.
Oh,
It'll be available in the
stalks.
summer, fall for $24.99. That's crazy.
Cool, I guess.
I don't know.
And summer/fall plus 1 day, it will be 3D scanned and available for 4 feet tall
Yeah, but very true.
to print on your own.
Yeah, but it's probably going to be pre-painted.
That's fine. That's fine.
These days, you
Remember,
don't know how
remember
helpful.
Lil Phil? They scanned me, man.
That's true. I don't know. That's just
I'm pre-painted.
this thing is so creepy and wonderful at the same time. I just
So great. Like go through the gallery. Oh, it's so great.
did I? Oh, okay. Huh? Yeah, I'm just have. It's not showing me a gallery. Oh, did I not scroll? Oh, there we go. I didn't scroll down far enough.
Yeah, we gotta have this thing.
Oh man. Yeah, now you can see it with all the different, but you can see a couple of the different eye stalks on there. Oh, so that's what it's going to look like in size to like your D&D minis.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What's like 4 inches tall? That's like half the size of a Mr. Potato Head, roughly.
About that, yeah.
So I'm digging it. Yeah, I may have to get this.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna scour every internet forum for the upscaled files.
All right, moving on to things I have to insta buy. Can I be talked into buying a Warhammer RPG? We'll just have to Heresy about that. So, Horus Heresy's getting a TTRPG coming in 2026. I was there rolling dice the day that Horus slew the Emperor. So, it's Games Workshop's 60-plus book. The Horus Heresy may have come to an end recently, but the conflict shows no sign of slowing down. Cubicle 7 has plans for Warhammer, the Horus Heresy role-playing game. Press release pegs the release for spring of 2026. Oh, I missed that part of the date. I I totally already emailed our contacts at Cubicle 7 being like, hey, so they're like, we have just a logo right now. Oh, fun fact, Mr. Potato Head was Hasbro's first hit toy. Did not know that. I'm not surprised, but I did not know that. So, Horus Heresy is the founding story of one of gaming and science fiction's best loved settings. Said Cubicle 7 owner Dominic McDowell in a news release. The epic scale of the Heresy's tragic tale is as big as it gets, and the legends your characters forge in the role-playing game will rival those found in the classics. But all the game, you're going to start out of the game as legionary consuls, a type of space marines. So get used to calling your fellow players brother a lot. Brother. The game opens with the betrayal of Isvan, an act of vile treachery that tears the Imperium in two. Cubicle 7 wrote. At this point, I'm like, which betrayal at Isvan? Because there was two of them. There was the betrayal at Isvan 3 and the one at the Dropship Massacre at Isvan 5. But you are thrown straight into the maelstrom as legionary consuls leading a ragtag war fleet fighting desperately for survival and vengeance. Your first priority is to escape, harried by traitors warp bent on your destruction. But what then? How will you survive and regroup? How do you overcome the shock of betrayal and keep your forces supplies? Perhaps most importantly, who can you trust? Having read a bunch of these types of stories, I could definitely say there is a lot of info ripe for an RPG in here, and it makes very much sense. Because like a lot of their other RPGs, they're not really like they have options to play Space Marines, but they're also contains rules for like everything else. Or like the Imperium Maledictum is more of like you're than the Inquisition kind of thing. So I'm very curious to see what system they're going to use for this. Like if it's going to be like its own unique thing, or if they're going to like modify one of the other games and just put this skin on top of it. But yeah, I could definitely see a lot of good stuff coming out of this. I may have to run this on the. This might have to be a podcast series.
Just a continuing update segment.
No. I'm talking about like a short podcast. Dirtbags.
Oh, a full on. Okay,
like,
I got you. Dirtbags.
Yeah, I might have to. I don't know if it may. I don't know about Corey and Jimmy if they'll be interested, but I can get some people. I'm sure I could find people.
I know people.
Yeah. So, and that's the news. So, I'll flip back over to here. With that, we'll just make a note, because this episode's been cray-cray, that make sure you go check out boardsandswords.com/Patreon. Help support the show so that, you know, things like that, things like my computer crashing don't happen often. But because we are 100% funded by patrons and not
viewers
by
like you.
Yeah, viewers like you, and not by like some big corporate overlords. So, with that, we're gonna turn back to Breeze now and talk about A.E.G.I.S. So
Yeah.
why don't you give us like where did this come from? Like, what's your background in? And I'm assuming there's some love there for Voltron.
Oh yeah. So yeah, A.E.G.I.S, it's a anime fighting robot tactics game. I grew up watching, Transformers the movie, Getter Robo, Power Rangers, Voltron, everything that I used to rent on a Eternal Cycle from Blockbuster. And then I've seen every other robot anime under the sun since then. So yeah, then I guess I decided to make my career about it. So yeah, A.E.G.I.S, it's cool. It's a little 30-minute tactics game. It's I like to call it baby's first BattleTech. It's like a faster, more accessible, more affordable, kind of like skirmishy war game where it takes like 30 minutes to play instead of 4 hours, instead of buying like one dude at a time for like $100 a piece. The game comes with 100 unique dudes to use.
Wow.
And you build a team of 5, and it can go up to 4 players out of the box, or 6 players if you get the big mat separately. And you fight. You just always have 5 robots. There's 5 different types of robot. Assault, evasive, guard, intel, support. spells Aegis, and throughout the game you can combine the different types of robots together into bigger robots, like an AE or an A.E.G. or even put all 5 of them together to make one big cool guy. And yeah, so it's extremely modular. It's quick to play. There's a lot of content. It's been a passion project for quite a number of years now. The first one came out in like 2018, 2019, and now this one is about to come out this year. And that's very exciting. And yeah, they're going to be like, they're backwards and forwards compatible, and it's a lot of little in jokes about all the things I grew up watching.
Awesome. First of all, we want to know which Gundam is your favorite besides Turn A. We know you love that.
Besides Turner.
But we know you love that mustache from the chat.
I was gonna say who? Oh, is that Michael again?
Yes.
No, that's good. Yeah, Turn A is enlightened. I actually hired an intern last year entirely on the basis of him sending me an email and mentioning Turn A in the email, and I'm like, who the hell are you? You're 20 years old. What do you know about Turn A Gundam? And I like baited me into replying. and, but yeah, no, I like what do I like? I mean, I like G Gundam. G Gundam's the best one, obviously.
That was my response. As I said, obviously the windmill one from G Gundam.
Correct.
That is the only correct answer.
It's truly the best.
So
But yeah.
how does you were when we spoke at PAX Unplugged, you gave a little bit of a vibe, but just kind of you want to talk about how the combining aspect works in A.E.G.I.S?
Oh yeah. So what do you want to? So would you like to know how it works?
Yes.
You were
Magnets.
yes.
How do they work?
So you start. Yeah. So like as I was saying, so you start the game, and it's a game on a hex grid. And you start the game with 5 small robots that are mono typed. So assault guys are red, evasive guys are blue, etc., etc. And then throughout the game, like the main backbone of the game is every turn, each of your 5 active robots on the board gives you action points. And then all those action points go into a pool, and you spend them to move an attack. Basically, every space you move is a point, every die you roll is a point. And so you take your turn by spending points, moving guys around the board, rolling dice to attack. It's all d6s. And then once your robots take damage, or under other circumstances, you might want to combine them together. Like, so say if I have 2 damaged robots, I can walk up to my G robot with my A robot, and I can pay some energy, and I could combine them together. So you have a team of 5 that you're looking at on the board, and you have a little fusion deck of combined guys, usually like 3 to 5 of them. And so say I have I have an A.E.G.I guy over on the right, and say his name's like Go 1000, and my G guy on the board is a little Go 100. He's a cute dude, and you have him next to any A robot, so you match like an A and a G together. And if you're making a Go 1000, that needs to be named Go. So you take a Go and any A robot, and you can just take the 2 pieces off the board. You put a new piece on the board in either spot. And then that new robot comes into play with full health, and he'll do like a cool pose, and he'll always have some sort of neat enter the battlefield ability. So like maybe he'll deal damage when he comes in, maybe he'll heal somebody else, maybe he'll make some other robot invincible for a turn. So like knowing when and where to combine is very tactically and strategically relevant. Which guys you're combining, when, where, and how. So it's not just like a surfacey kind of gimmick. There's like, it's a very important part of like the turn by turn tactics of the game, which is pretty neat.
Clearly, you only combine after it's virtually impossible for you to do it and do anything, and you've exhausted all your options with all the robots individually.
That is correct. that is actually usually how it goes.
And then the next game you do it right away because we've just skipped that first phase altogether.
Yes, that is also usually how it goes.
kind of
But yeah,
turning into like
sometimes
a Power Rangers how it should have ended kind of thing. It's like, oh, don't wait for Rita to throw her staff. Just call the Zords now and stomp on the guy. Like, let's do it.
yeah.
Nope, that's why. Nope, that was one of his rules. Zordon's rules was you don't escalate.
That's right. You defend. You never instigate.
So see, they covered their bases already. Like, this is great. I just love like when people that grew up watching the same stuff I did end up making cool stuff referencing those things.
Yeah, right. It's yeah, no, it's I went to like game design school, and I guess this is probably like all roads in my life probably led to making a game like this. And it's like, well, I grew up liking robots and I wanted to make some games. So it was very natural. You should build what you know.
Right.
And man, do I know about robots.
Right. So I'm assuming the way that the bots are named, does that also like are they all like do they all like all the A attack ones, are they all start with arc or do they have different A names?
Oh yeah, so all the A ones, all the assault robots all have different A names depending on what they do. Like the arc robots all have like swords on their heads versus like the ab robots are all like punchy guys, and the arm robots have rocket fists.
Gotcha.
But they all kind of like go under this umbrella of they're all attacky guys, but they all kind of like it's kind of like a subclass. Like their names are like a subclass.
And I'm assuming, of
Um,
course, that when you combine them, then all the names end up. That's where like I've got the card pulled up here from BGG. That's El Gelion.
yes. So yeah, you take your L, your gel, and your ion, and you mash them together, and you get L Gelion. And so yeah, like it allows us to make cool names and do little references and stuff. But yeah, because like all the small robots have like short little 3-4 letter names, and then yeah, some of the larger cooler robots have like more elaborate awesome names like Ender Gansha and like all these other things.
All right, Philip. What's your initial impression here?
Well, so the name combination took me back to Munchkin.
Yeah.
The Mazer Faux Phaser from Star Munchkin. I'm digging this a lot. I actually when we started talking about like multiple players and robots, and we were talking about Voltron, I went to Voltron Vehicle Force.
The
Where
most unsung Voltron.
yes,
The one
where
that had
it's
like 10 robots that all formed together?
15.
Oh,
It's
what?
15.
It's cool as hell.
It's three teams of 5. And I remember Robot Chicken did a skit where it like took 4 days for all the damn robots to come together, and by that time the monster had just like destroyed whatever planet they were trying to protect.
I was really hoping that the people who did the Netflix Voltron were gonna do a follow-up series that had the 15 vehicle Voltron.
And pull in something out. Yeah.
This would be so cool. And then I want to see like a really neat like updated design version of that robot.
That would be awesome.
Wasn't there a third Voltron?
According to
Because it was like there was like the vehicle Voltron was like Voltron of like the close galaxy.
according to where am I? For the United States, there were a total of 3 Voltrons. Voltron 1 of the near universe was the Vehicle Force. Voltron 3 of the far universe was the Lion Force.
Was the Lion.
And Voltron 2 from the middle universe was 3 humanoid robots that combined into one multi-armed fighter.
We don't talk about that one, says Michael.
Yeah, no one talks about that one.
Didn't know that existed.
What's that song about we don't talk about Bruno?
We don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah.
See, now I want to, and there's not even. I've got pictures of Vehicle Force and Lion Force. I got no pictures of.
I think it
doesn't even have a force name. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think it was one of those like they were going to, and then it just kind of died out, and then it didn't happen. Like they laid the groundwork.
They shot the pilot, and then someone looked at them and were like, "What the hell were you thinking?"
It's always one of those things too, where it's just like 3 random, like Japanese shows that they just renamed to Voltron.
Yeah.
It's like what they did with Robotech.
Yeah. Or Power Rangers for that matter. At least that was the same series. But
That,
Yeah,
yeah,
at
that
least
was
that
the
was
same series.
yeah.
so
Which like watching some of the because that was a big thing on TikTok a couple years ago, was like different episodes of Super Sentai and crossovers and all that kind of stuff. It was like we missed so many cool crossovers
oh yeah.
Hmm.
because we just stuck to like the one little the whole Super Mega Force thing where they started changing into the different teams.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because
There
I watched the Japanese version of that like way
and
back in college. Yeah.
there's a scene in one of them where one of the guys pops up and kind of as like a little homage to what they called it here in the States. He's like, yes, time to go turbo. And he pops up and puts in the key. There was actually a team called Turbo Ranger, and it was
Mhm.
not the American Turbo Ranger because that was Car Ranger.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
as soon as he changes in, the guy looks over at him. He's like, you meant Car Ranger, didn't you? He's like, yeah, I meant Car Ranger.
And the yeah. So all right. So we had Aegis, and then what did the new Kickstarter add?
So yeah, the first game, the 2019 one, it had 100 robots, and it could play about it was like 2 to 4 players, 2 to 6 players. It was my first published board game. It had a long history to it, where we like originally like made it as like a hand cut, hand printed sort of thing, and then eventually we got picked up by a publisher. We did a Kickstarter, and they did the Kickstarter wrong, and then we got the rights back, and then we just did the Kickstarter ourselves, and then it went well. And so then we published it, and then so yeah, then we basically rebuilt the game after that. After we got the Kickstarter money to make it better and more legitimate than ever before. And then we launched it, and yeah, it went really well. People bought it. We sold out of everything that we printed within like a year. And so I was like, well, what do we do? Well, let's do Aegis 2, and let's look at the kind of like the list of like critiques and commentary and things that we wish we did and like things that we wish we could fix, and let's just like turn it around really quickly, and like let's just make a whole new bunch of new content and make Aegis 2. And it's like cool, sick, awesome. And then that took 5 years. So I wanted to launch this game in like March 2020.
Oh.
I wanted to launch the Kickstarter in March 2020, but I didn't launch the Kickstarter until January 2023. But yeah, so Aegis 2, Second Ignition, Season 2, whatever you want to call it. 100 new robots, self-contained box. You can own it without owning Aegis 1. It's fine. If you own both, they're completely cross-compatible. I did all the art for the most part in the first Aegis myself. And Aegis 2 looks a lot better because we had money to hire very good artists. So Aegis 2 looks better. The graphics a little bit better. We made the fonts bigger. We made it fresher. We redid the rulebook. We added some game modes and we subtracted some game modes. One of the main things that we added, of course, is a solo mode. One of the hottest requests from Aegis 1 was a solo mode. So we have this really cool solo mode. It's like a boss battle mode. And yeah, it's just like kind of like Aegis. It's like Aegis, but gooder. And with that said, we also went back when we printed this game. We also went back and looked at all the files for Aegis 1. I'm like, I'll spruce up some things here and there, and then I end up just redoing pretty much the entire freaking game. So we spruced up a lot of the graphic design and the rules and the wording and a lot of the stuff in Aegis 1, and we're doing that for the reprint of Aegis 1. It's also all upgraded to match Aegis 2. So that's cool. It is. I think it's a big step up and step forward from our first release. Not that there's anything wrong with the first Aegis. It is beautiful and perfect in every way, but we made it more perfect in the new version. And so yeah, now we have 2 Aegises. How nice. and a bunch of little expandy bits.
A.E.G.I.
A.E.G.I. We have we have A.E.G.I. So yeah, it is exciting, because yes, we worked on it like basically all through COVID. And then once the Kickstarter funded, I'm like, all right, cool, time to go to print. And then I realized, oh no, half the game's not done. What have I done? And so then I finished
Kind
the
of
other
need
half of
that,
the
yeah.
game. Yeah. So, I did another thing where like I guess I promised a bit too much, but I ultimately delivered on all of it, just like the first time. So it's very exciting to have it all finally be done just in time to get screwed by tariffs.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, because you had mentioned all the other work you've done for other companies, did any of that feed in when you were doing the second Aegis? Because it's like I've got more experience just in game design in general.
oh yeah, like I've done in the meantime while shipping the first between like that period, that COVID period, I started working at this company, Breeze Creative, and we have done all sorts of like client project work for a bunch of games. So I've written a lot of rule books and edited a lot of rule books right now. So I just know how to like write rules like better. And that shows a lot. Uh, Also worked on a couple solo modes, and like some of what I learned from those solo modes and co-op modes definitely carried through
Oh yeah.
to Aegis's solo mode for sure. And just generally, yeah, I've learned a lot of stuff. I've learned a lot from working on other games that I've started putting into Aegis in like subtle ways.
So obviously distributing the game is the next bit, but what's after that?
Aegis 3. Well, no, we have like I've had in the meantime of making Aegis, like we have a litany of other prototypes that we like touch and peck at sporadically throughout the year, and it would be so nice to ship them and finish them. We do have an Aegis fighting game called Aegis Wild Moves. It's like a cute little $20. It's called Wild Moves Roll and Fight, where you have a bunch of the human characters in Aegis and a little quickie, like 10-20 minute card simultaneous reveal bluffing game with some like dice placement aspects. It's very simple, very quick. We have that like basically done, and I actually wanted to ship it to the US along with Aegis 2, but Aegis 2 kept on not being done. So all my effort went to that.
Right.
But we will Aegis. So that will probably be the next thing that we actually do release is Aegis Wild Moves. Is short. It's small. It's manageable. It's basically finished. And that I didn't design that one. That one is by Nicholas Trahan, who is making a really cool RPG coming out from Flat Out Games called Whisperstone. Shout out to Whisperstone.
Nice.
And that will come out eventually. It's like a cool RPG with like puzzle pieces you lock into each other. But yeah, Wild Moves is coming out, and then hopefully some other games, and hopefully Aegis 3 won't take 5 years, but God, it probably will.
So wait. So
I've streamlined my process.
I feel like Aegis 3 now needs to be one of two things. Either it won't be talked about just like the third Voltron, or it needs to follow Vehicle Voltron, and you need to make a longer acronym that you can have like 15 robots combined together.
Yes.
Aegis Extreme.
Yeah.
With dots in between every letter.
Yeah.
But it's just
Or just
XTREME.
Or just Aegis with 3 eyes instead of 1 is the other meme. Or a 3 instead of the E.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
A3gis.
Yeah, we got some exciting ideas for that we've been already testing out. It's very cool. But yes, hopefully the process will be faster.
Well, yeah, that's just a part of the development cycle.
Yeah. Ideally, hopefully. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe I just don't learn from my mistakes. If I did, I wouldn't be making board games.
Right.
But the work's not done yet. It's not done. We have ideas, and they must make it to paper.
Job's not done.
Job's not done. Job done yet? Nope. Job's not done.
I don't learn from my mistakes. I keep making them to really drive the point home.
I am the correct one. Everyone else is wrong.
I mean, clearly.
It's kind of turning into that Hero Escape video. The best thing about Aegis is more Aegis.
Correct.
We should
Gonna
just
put that right up on our new banner.
immediately throw away all the expansions and just buy another copy of Aegis. Oh my god, I had the glory of showing that to somebody for the first time. I was at the store and somebody bought it. Somebody was buying it because like they remembered playing Hero Escape or Hero Quest as a kid, and they're like, well, now my son's into RPGs, and so I want to get it to play with him. And so I was like, I'd be quoted like the best thing about Hero Quest, and they'd be like, what? And I'm like, oh my god, you haven't seen this? Everyone sit a while and listen.
Sit back and listen to the tales of our people.
Yeah, there's it's one of those like old YouTube is the best YouTube kind of things, or like that like pre-2010 version of YouTube. Like I showed some when I was playing BattleTech this weekend. I showed some friends action figure therapy.
Yes. Problem solved. Problem staying solved.
Specifically,
Rangers lead the way.
Specifically, the one with the guy. Hold on, I got this. Uses the incendiary grenade to burn away his
to burn away the minivan that keeps parking in his driveway.
Yeah. And then the fire won't go out, and he's like, "I got this," and it burns through to the water main, and then just takes it.
Where's the water main? Problem solved. Problem staying solved.
Yeah, I'm sleeping on the couch tonight, but it was worth it.
Jungle Recon is the best. See, what you got to do is you got to have a sexy mustache to distract the enemy.
So if anybody doesn't know it, actually, basically, you know, back in the good old days of YouTube, somebody just took their action figure, like G.I. Joe action figures, and put like some generic like therapy background behind them, and had them just tell tales of like what they were doing out in the field. But
it was so glorious.
Yeah. So
no, we can't have bagels on Monday anymore. We're gonna only have bagels on Friday. Well, we can't do it on Friday because that's when everyone has birthdays and cakes and candies and bullshit.
I got
Chrome Dome pulls up some sort of wrist launcher.
I got Philip started. He's gonna now just quote action figure.
I'm just gonna start quoting. Yeah.
Don't you still have that thumb drive that had like?
Yes, it's a 32 gig USB drive, and they printed on there. It's a picture of Jungle Recon, and it's a 32 gigs of nudie pics. And it was just every video they had published up to that point. I gotta find that. Where is that? Somewhere on this desk. You were talking about the 15 robots. I typed in 15 letter words. So it's like psychoanalyzing. That's the name of the new game.
Well, no, it's got to have. It can't reuse any letters.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You can't reuse the letter. Oh,
because each letter's got to stand for something. Unless you're just going to have them be stand for different things.
Uncopyrightable.
Wait, that's the.
There we go. Perfect.
Bingo. We got him.
Boom.
Does that actually uncopyright? Oh my God, that does.
It doesn't repeat any of the letters.
It doesn't repeat any letters. It's beautiful.
I just want to see somebody file the copyright for uncopyrightable.
Yes. All I ask is my name in the book. It's all I ask. Just
yeah.
put my name in the rule book. That's all I
And
ask.
you don't even have to do it for free. All you got to do is just offer a tier level on your Kickstarter, and he'll just sign up for that.
Shut up.
I backed this Kickstarter at the $200 level. Why? Because I get my name in the book.
And I got an early copy of the game, so I
Oh,
have 2
excuse
copies
me.
of the game now.
Oh, I don't even want to think what the acronym is actually for.
Oh, that's right, because now we got to put like all the all the letters need to stand for another word.
Yeah. So where do people need to look keep the tabs online for when we get Aegis 3 or uncopyrightable?
It's so good. It's like zephyrworkshop.com. We're also on Blue Sky, Zephyr Workshop, Blue Sky, and also we have like a link tree. So linktree/Aegis robots will bring us. It's also our kind of main hub where we point to various things. The game is still up for pre-order.
Nice.
At rock bottom Kickstarter prices that have not. They're 2023 prices in 2025. So take advantage of those now because they are all going up after their game is released.
And you'll get it soon because it's already being shipped.
Yeah, right. No, like literally, yes, you'll get your game pretty quickly. If the last remaining pre-orders, I'm probably gonna have to lock them pretty soon because freight is about to begin. But yes, pre-order is still open at the moment for low prices.
As of this time.
As of this very moment.
By the time the
because I can't
podcast comes
increase
out, it
them,
may
I'm
not
back
be the
again.
case. All right. Well, I think we're gonna trust the. I'm not gonna tempt fate any longer, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and call the show there. So, all right, Philip.
And that's been our show. We want to thank Breeze for hanging out with us, putting up with our technical difficulties, and Chris's amazingly bad jokes. If you like what you see, you got to check us out. boardsandswords.com/live. It's got the link to the streaming channel and the schedule. And if you just go around on boardsandswords.com itself, it's got links to things we've done in the past, stuff we might bring back in the future too. So keep an eye out there. boardsandswords.com.
That's right. And like I said, you can go follow everybody on Blue Sky, Zephyr Workshop. I'm at boardsandswords.com. Also, feedback at boardsandswords.com. Let us know who we need to talk to next. Schedule's kind of light. I've been sending out emails, but we just had Gamma Trade Show, so I know a lot of people are still, a lot of companies are still very busy with that. But got stuff in the works.
I'll get you guys hooked up. I got plenty of publishers. I got plenty of publisher buddies.
Nice. I'm always down for more networking. It was really funny. It was funny. Our local store went to Gamma, and I was like, talk to this person. I know. I know this person. I'm friends with this person. She was like, next year I'm just gonna bring you. Like, that's fair.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
So, send us feedback. Let us know who we need to talk to next. Like Philip said, boardsandswords.com's got links to everything that we do, just like our Patreon. Check it out. Help support the show. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. I don't know who. We actually don't have somebody on the schedule, but I know soon we may be doing a live show at the new local store that we have, but I don't know exactly when that is. But in the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story. Hopefully yours won't blue screen halfway through it. Hey, that was great timing.